Now let's take a look at some voicings. Let's take a look at how to write these voicings out so you can refer back to them and practice and really get them under your hands. Up on the screen, I've got a voicing written out. It kind of looks like a military code, some kind of encryption, but it's actually just a real simple way to write a voicing. You've got a couple sets of numbers separated by a colon. So on the left-hand side, those are your left-hand notes, and on the right side of the colon are your right-hand notes. For instance, let's say we're playing the chord C13. I'm stacking it up from bottom to top. So I've got the root, the third, the fifth, the lowered seventh, right? The ninth, and 13. Now the voicing says on the left hand, I'm supposed to play the root in the seventh, so I'll play C and B flat, right? And in the right hand, I'm going to play the third and the 13th. Now, the third, you might think, well, wait a minute, the third's way down here. But remember, the third is a third no matter where you play it. So the third does not get changed when the seventh shows up. So the third can be played up here. And the 13th. There it is. That's what this voicing looks like. And that's the voicing that I played a little earlier when you slide it up and down the keyboard. And what I'm doing is just sliding down chromatically. Chromatic means every single note in a row. So when I slide a chord down chromatically, you're sliding every single note. That's actually a really good exercise. If you come up with a voicing and you really want to get it under your hands, learn to move it chromatically. Let's take that technique and push it a little bit. Just dealing with this F13 chord and dropping an F triad up on top. What if you inverted this F triad? Well, it's really not going to change anything, is it? Except the sound a little bit, but the function is going to be the same. So we're going to take the bottom note of this F triad and flip it up on top. Now you have this voicing that nobody's ever seen before, right? Well, that's not really true. But I mean, this is a crazy voicing. And once you start playing this kind of stuff, it really kind of expands your mind. Okay, what if we flip and invert this thing again? Put this A up on top. Wow. Now, what if we do the straddle technique that we studied in earlier lessons? If you haven't gone through our complete bundle, you need to, because it's got all these techniques in there. To straddle a chord, well, let's look at this F triad. You can invert it up and down like we did. But now let's do the same thing, leaving out the middle note each time. Leaving out the middle note each time, you've got what's called a straddle. Again, we studied that in earlier lessons. And what if you took this then and you dropped that left-hand comp chord beneath it? And if I just did those two little straddles right there and I started playing rhythmically, you get something like this. Go up a little higher. And then what if we dropped it down chromatically like we did earlier? Oh, now you've got some real characteristic lat stuff. This has just been a quick overview of Phat Chord Voicings, Chapter 4. The full version of this lesson is over 45 minutes of in-depth study covering the theory of 9th, 11th, and 13th chords. In addition, there's a huge section covering many different voicings of the dominant 13th chord. If you really want to move out of the standard box of music into the world of higher extension chords, this is an ideal course of study for you. In addition, the lesson covers many different new techniques, including learning how to create an endless groove using chromatic chord movement. This is so fun to do. Another highlight of this lesson is learning the secret of how to extend the blues scale so that it also includes higher extension notes. This is a very simple technique, but it really becomes useful when you're playing jazz, rhythm and blues, Latin music, etc. We'll also take the time to learn how to create brand new voicings. This is an essential skill for those keyboard players that want to create their own unique sound on the keyboard. That's you. There's so much to study here, but every second is a building block and the foundation of making you into a well-rounded, complete musician. My name is David Sprunger. Thanks for listening. Until next time, you know what to do. Go practice.